has this day turned out the way you hoped when you initiated it?
Yeah, it really has. You know, like I said way back when, and I said it again today at our Diversity Summit, April 15th, 1947, Ebbets Field, Brooklyn, is the most powerful and important date in baseball history. I know there are a lot of dates, and nobody loves the game and its history more than I do, but when you think what Branch Rickey and Jackie Robinson did on that date, it is amazing. I mean, baseball as a social institution should be so proud, and I am. I really am. 3.5 years before Harry Truman desegregated the United States Army, 7 years before Brown versus Board of Education, 18 years before the Civil Rights Movement. Great story, and so we honor it today and celebrate it, and all the players, of course, are wearing 42. I guess here you're going to do it tomorrow.
Right.
But yeah, the day has turned out. It's really the day. I really look forward to this day every year, and I've had the pleasure of seeing Sharon today, who I understand was on your show. You got a lot of guests today, Michael. You know, you don't have to do much work anymore.
None bigger than you,
just
though,
have
Bud.
one guest on after another, and you just sit there. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good way to make a living.
You don't like a little rip, do you?
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Now, I always looked at it this way, and I want to see if you agree. It wasn't that Jackie was the first one, that he was the right one. Would you agree with that?
I would. Oh, absolutely. There's no question. I've read every book on the subject. I've studied Branch Rickey's over and over, and when he told Jackie he couldn't fight back and all the things that went on. There were better players in the old Negro Leagues than Jackie Robinson, but none of them could have handled what he did. And Don, when I look back on it, and having talked a lot to Rachel Robinson in particular, but a lot of players who played with him and against him, I've done that for the last 30, 35 years, I'm amazed he made it, given the pressure, the tension, the hatred. I'm amazed. But because he made it, we had my friend Henry Aaron and Willie Mays and Bob Gibson and on and on and on. I mean, think of the enormous pressure on this guy. Was he the right guy? Give Rickey all the credit in the world.
And the one thing that I don't think that we should do is just look at this as a significant date in baseball. Because, Bud, I believe it's a significant date in the history of this country. I think it showed people in this country what can be done, what should be done, what would be done. And I think Jackie Robinson paved the way for that.
I couldn't agree with you more. You know, you guys both know what a history buff I am. And there are people I've talked to, American historians, who believe that Jackie Robinson is now, along with Branch Rickey, one of the 2, 3, or 4 most important people in American history in the 20th century. So your point is extremely well taken.
Now, Don and I were talking about this, Bud, and it's a concern, and I know that you've been talking about it a lot as well, and you've put together a group to try to help solve this problem. About 8% of your league, of the major leagues, is just African-American, which has dropped significantly over the last 20 years. And I don't think that baseball's done anything wrong, Bud. I think it's a societal issue, but what do you think is the problem?
Well, I'm not sure that I know. I've spent 30, 40 years trying to analyze it, but let me tell you what we're doing. We're building academies all over the country, one in Compton, California, one in Houston, Texas, one in Philadelphia, one in Cincinnati, one in Washington, one in Miami, and we're going to do a lot more. We have our RBI program where we have over 200,000 kids in the inner city. And because of the academies in particular, we've had, there have been, I think, 12 or 13 African Americans drafted in the first couple of rounds in the last 2 years, and over 44 players that have come out of the academies. You're going to see a terrific uptick. There's no doubt in my mind. I also have a diversity committee headed by David Dombrowski, the president of the Tigers. Jerry Manuel's very much involved. We have baseball coaches from a lot of universities. We're making progress, guys, and you're going to see it pretty soon now. You're really going to see it pretty soon. So, look, we have more diversity in baseball than ever before. You know that because of Hispanic players and Asian players and so on and so forth. But we will do better in the African American community, and we're going to make up for lost time.
Now, Twitter is a great way to be able to get an indication of what our listeners are thinking. When we talked about this earlier, Mr. Commissioner, the feeling seemed to be from a lot of the younger audience that the game is just too slow. Is that a major concern for you?
No, it is not. As a matter of fact, those that think it is too slow, I hate to say it, I don't hate to be sarcastic there late in the day, but they're too slow. The game is not too slow. It is a game of if Hank Aaron and Willie Mays and all those great players and all the great players that we have today that are African American, Hispanic, and everything else, no, it isn't too slow. Let them get in the box and hit a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. They can tell me then how slow it is.
How about the fact that when you get drafted, Bud, I mean, you could spend 4 years in minor league towns riding buses, and I don't think this is something that could be solved. The other sports, boom, you're in the NBA, you're in the NFL.
Well, there is a little something to that, but on the other hand, and by the way, I wish you would study the drafts of the last 2 years, guys. You're going to be very impressed at the number of African-American players being drafted and signed and playing. So I remember I can also make the case to you that the payoffs in baseball are a lot greater over a period of time. And by the way, your health is likely to be a lot better that way too.
And we were talking, and it's true. You don't get your head banged in, and a career in the NFL is 3.5 years long. Yeah, but does a kid think that far ahead? If he does, baseball's the right choice. I mean, make a lot of money and have a long career.
But I like the way our drafts are going, and I think you'll like them even more with the upcoming draft too.
Do you last weekend, Bud? Some hitches in the replay system. Are you cool with it, or you think it has to be tweaked?
Oh, listen. I read Tony La Russa's comments, which I'm sure you guys have, and I've read Joe Torre's comments, and John Scherholz, who's a great baseball executive, we all know, and he and I have talked about. Listen, it's 2 weeks old. I think we're off to an amazing start. I just studied the statistics. I'm sitting in my office in New York, and the statistics are amazing. We're up to 97, 98%. Of course, when you do anything new, there'll always be a glitch here and there. I understand it's not going to be we knew that. I think John Scherholz said it well a month ago. It's a work in progress. Am I happy with it? I agree with Tony La Russa. We are grateful for where we are. We're doing great.